All right. Happy Saturday. Got a couple more people still jumping in, but we gotta get this going. Sean Smith is joining us. All right. If anyone else jumps in, let me know. Morning, good morning, good morning. All right. My name is Jonathan. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We're actually on site down in Auburn Gresham area. We got myself and Dev Patel, our project manager, on site. So we're super excited to have you guys here this morning. We do always like to, we got a little PowerPoint now. We're moving up. We got a little PowerPoint this morning. I'm Jonathan, founder of Quality Builders, host of the virtual walkthroughs in Chicago Cashflow Breakfast Club, or general contractor, and managing broker. Dev Patel is on site with our client there, Mariah. There's a little bit about us. We're technology driven. We're super focused on trying to communicate as best we can, always through the project management software. So each one of our clients gets a nice little portal like this. We also set you up with our designer, and we actually go through some different designs. So we go through the design selection process. So we'll show you this really quick. If you guys have any questions, you can always put them in to the chat. If you stay on mute, that'll be the best way to get through everything as quickly as possible. We got a hard stop at 10:30. But yeah, so it's just a little look at how we set up all of our selections. We've really found that pre-planning our projects, getting all the selections, getting all the material figured out way beforehand is super, super, super beneficial. So that's how our goal is set up. I'm going to kind of hand it over to Dev, who is on site this morning. Oh, forgot one more thing. While I'm still sharing my screen, one of the things we're all about at Quality Builders is making sure we're giving back. One of the ways we try to give back is through the Boys and Girls Club of True Value. I've got my QR codes up here that you guys can see. You guys can see my screen, right? Can I get like any type of thumbs up or anything in the chat to let me know that you can see my screen? Should have a QR code and say Boys and Girls Club of True Value. Okay, appreciate it, Pat. Thank you so much. Leyland, good morning. Hope that's how I pronounce your name. So yeah, if you guys don't mind, if you have the ability, this goes to the Boys and Girls Club of True Value for the Youth of the Year program every year in November. 3 kids from the True Value Boys and Girls Club of Little Village goes up and does a presentation, and they do a presentation in Navy Pier. So we support this every year. We always have a goal to be supporting and giving back. Now I'll probably hand it back over to Dev, who's on site. We have our client Mariah, who's on site. The project today is in Greater Grand Crossing, Auburn Greshamish. It's a 2-unit building. It's a cosmetic renovation. We actually took it over from a different contractor, and we did the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. All those have passed, and now we're in like the final stages here of the finishes. It was a 203K loan, so I know we've got a lot of interest in the 203 loan process, and we're going to talk to Mariah about that process and some things she would have done a little bit differently maybe. So I'll let you guys talk. Dev, if you want to do a little intro, and we can let Mariah give us some lessons learned.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys everyone for joining here. Dev Patel, as Jonathan mentioned. I'm the project manager for Quality Builders here, and I'm on site today with Mariah, our client here at this project. And we just wanted to make sure that she could help you guys explain like some of the shortcomings with, say, the previous contractor or the lender process that she wasn't aware of with the first go around with the construction project. So we just wanted to hear her perspective on some of the pitfalls or issues that she saw with her project at the beginning. Right, do you want to just like run us through with what issues there were at the start of the project?
Yeah, it was quite a few. So I closed on the property in October 2023. So we're currently in month 19, and that's not to scare you all, but it's just so you can learn from the mistakes that I made. So the first mistake was the contractor that I chose. So he actually came as a recommendation from the architect that did my drawings for the project initially. And so I don't think he had a real understanding of what the 203K loan was. So usually with the loan, the contractor will front the cost and then get reimbursed through draws. But he was asking for money from the beginning. So that should have been a red flag, but because he came recommended, I decided to give him a chance. Another issue we ran into was permits. So I actually had the drawings done before we closed in October. So usually you can't apply for permits unless you have the drawings. And so we were way ahead of schedule there. But I think I found out in February 2024 that he still hadn't pulled the permits that he needed. So I think he had maybe one of the three that was necessary. And so they kind of scrambled and realized that the approval process will take about another 6 months to get the permits. And that was the last straw for me. So I had to fire the contractor. And not only that, I had to fire the architect as well. And so that's when I found Quality Builders.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. John, was there any specific questions that you wanted to discuss since we're on a time crunch this morning?
Yeah, I guess just really quick, the 203K process in general, like how'd you hear about it? How'd you decide on it? What have been like some of the benefits you've seen as well, since I know it's been a struggle getting the project done, but I know you're also like aware enough to see like the benefits of this long-term investment too with the process of the 203K.
Yeah, 203K loan, I think, in general is great. So I knew that I didn't have enough for a full turnkey investment property. So I wanted to be able to do the work myself. But because it was my first construction project, I wanted to make sure that I had some kind of guidance, and that's what the 203K offers. So you will get, through the lender, you'll get a budget, and then you're also assigned a consultant. So they kind of create the scope of work or what needs to be done in the project. And then they actually oversee it as well. So as we make progress throughout the project, the consultant will come out, make sure that the work that is said to be done is actually done, and then they'll release the funds to that contractor. So I felt like I had support in that way from the lender to the consultant. I originally wanted like a 4-unit, but because the 203K is FHA loans, it has to meet the self-sufficiency guidelines. So the 3 and 4 units, meaning that 75% of the income has to cover the mortgage. Yeah. And so that did not work out with the 3 and 4 units at the time. So I had the 2-unit, and then this has a unfinished basement that the plan was to create a 3rd unit, but unfortunately we couldn't get it done with that loan because of the first contractor. But yeah, I mean, I think overall it's a great product, and if you're really getting started, it's a good guide because there's support that comes with it.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Mariah. But I think before we go on to walking the project, I had like one final question for you here, which was, are there anything that you distinctly saw the difference between your previous contractor and us, and what if anything that helped you? Maybe whether it was the communication, was it daily logs? What helped you the most as the investor here?
100%. It's like night and day. So I have a few that comes to mind. So the first one is having an online presence. I think we could hold the contractors accountable if they have a reputation to kind of protect. And that first contractor, he was licensed and insured, but there was like no online anything. So I couldn't leave reviews. I couldn't let other people know about this contractor, and Quality Builders is everywhere. So Jonathan is posting daily in forums, and there's videos like this. And so there's a reputation there that, that needs to be protected. Also, communication is, again, night and day. I think I had to chase down the contractor the first time to try to figure out like where we are in the process, because I am off site and out of state, out of the city. Trying to figure out like what needs to happen, what's the timeline, and he would give like half answers or really didn't have answers. And so with Quality Builders, not only do I have an app, but they post in their weekly with videos and pictures with the progress. Any questions that come up, I can communicate through there. Dev and Jonathan are very responsive, so never have any questions. Usually they're really proactive in getting back to me before I even ask questions. Um, yeah, and I think
Yeah.
also like having a team too. So the first contractor wanted to do everything himself, which also should have been a red flag. But being able to have a team, I think, really is the difference with, especially if you have a big project like mine.
Yeah, and not to make everyone think like everything goes perfect, because it definitely doesn't, right? I think that's
Welcome to
fair
the
as
team.
well. I think we can't say that either, but I think, the goal is always to provide that proactive feedback as soon as things are coming up so that people aren't surprised as much as we want to. Like we know we're working in unknown and there's things that are constantly coming up that we may have to make adjustments to. And that was one of the biggest adjustments I think from Mariah was the first contractor actually did work that was out of scope. And so making sure you have the clear crystal clear scope of work for your contractor to do is probably the most important thing. Cause then he's now gotten work done that wasn't supposed to be. And then we have to do additional work. And anytime anyone has to come in after another contractor started, no matter how good the first one was, it's always going to be harder to get done. And I think that's the most important lesson is to just make sure that you have someone who can get it done. Because yeah, time ends up being the biggest issue, I think, with 80 to 90% of the projects. So any other questions for Mariah?
No, not for mine.
Okay. Beautiful. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. Yeah, Mariah, I appreciate you
Okay.
jumping in. I know this hasn't been easy. I'm glad we're very, very close to the finish line. Yeah, and yeah, so we'll walk through right now. I've got the plans up, so I'll share the screen really quick, tell you where they're at currently. Like we said, it's a 2-unit building in Auburn Gresham. Is that the right neighborhood, Mariah? Auburn Gresham, right?
Yep, Auburn Gresham.
So yeah, so 2-unit building, 3 bedroom, 1 bath. They were actually just right here in this living room. And so we'll kind of walk from the front of the house to the back. So far we've finished all the drywall, sanded all the drywall, primed all the drywall. We actually have a team on site on the first floor, finishing the floors. And we've got the cabinets installed, countertops installed, and just kind of going through the finishing touches with the the flooring, and the final paint here. So we'll spotlight Dev. He'll walk you from the back or from the front to the back, going through the living room, looking to bedrooms, dining rooms, halls, kitchen. We can touch a little bit more on some of the lessons learned through the actual construction right now, but I'll let Dev go back through everything.
You guys, I'm still in the same room that we were having that interview in the sunroom here at the front of the property. Great big windows. Leads up to the living room here.
So yeah, one of the bigger challenges we definitely had was working with ComEd in this case. Usually they've been very quick and smooth about most things, but I think it took, I don't know, something ridiculous, like 3 to 4 months, wasn't it, Mariah, to get the power on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a whole another issue with ComEd. Make sure you call the right department.
I'm just walking from the living room into the hallway here. To my left, I've got a hallway closet and the stairs that lead down to the first floor unit.
So one of the questions was about finding an architect and getting the drawings done before the closing. That's always a very tricky question, I think, for a lot of people, because they want to be able to close before they hire the architect. I know after the fact, Mariah found one of the architects that we partner with typically, Pavlik Architecture. And so, yeah, they've been good to get the project done and submitted and onto the permit. So,
It was half the cost.
And Mariah noted it was half the cost as well for a first architect. This is walking into the dining room, sorry, another kitchen room. Big windows, really big room as well.
Mariah, do you have an idea on how much rent you'll be looking for once you put that on for rental in the next couple of weeks or months?
I saw between 15 and 1800 for a long time. Yeah.
Did you catch that, John?
Yeah, and it's a, yeah, 15 and 1800, and it's a 3-bed, 1 bath.
This is the second bedroom to my right here, top bedroom closet, a huge big window. Similar sized bedroom again, the third bedroom. Big windows, decently sized closet as well. We got the bathroom right here. Sorry about the dust, it's all from the sanding of the flooring that's going on currently. And this is the kitchen with the cabinets and the countertops that just recently got installed.
Yeah, the estimated square footage of the bedrooms is roughly 100 square feet, probably a little bit bigger than that. 120 square feet, probably 10 by 12 roughly. They're good sized bedrooms, easily fit a king size. Um, the all-in cost is roughly between 200 and 250,000-ish. And the estimated completion date is hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks maximum. Mariah's ready to move in several months ago, so.
Yes.
Is there any
Yeah, so
room,
I
John?
can share my screen one more time, share so I shared the demo plans earlier, I think. If not, I got them on my screen again. Now, hopefully you guys can see it this time. So yeah, this is the demo portion of the second floor where they're on. Right above here is oh, this is actually the proposed, sorry about that. Here's actually the demo plan. So you can see we redid all the doors, redid all the bathroom, all the kitchen. It was the same thing on the first floor. 3-bed, 1 bath, new furnace, new hot water heater in the basement, new appliances. Anything else? The basement, we still have kept to hopefully take on a third unit potentially. So we have a utility room, some storage for the tenants down here. New ventilation system in here. We did new electrical. I think that'd be another good call out as far as like lessons learned. You know, we tried to get away with only putting electrical where it was required based on some violations that Mariah had, because Mariah also had violations on her property. We ended up having to put new electrical pretty much throughout the entire apartment, which is typical, but it always is dependent on some of the inspectors that you get. So that was definitely another big challenge, is trying to navigate, trying to do the minimum to get the building up to code, but making sure it's also safe and everything. So I know that was another change that we had to go through, as additional electrical. Any other questions? So this is the ventilation plan. 2 new exhaust fans in each bathroom, new piping, hot water, vent and drain. Congrats, Mariah, she's almost there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any other questions, everyone? Mariah's almost through the process. I got Dev spotlight again to just walk through it once more, but and she's by far not alone with the amount of times I think people have worked on a 203K and then had contractors fail. Like, and it's probably the worst situation you can be in, because often if you get a low number on the 203K and lock it in for 50,000, but the real cost is 75 or 100,000, then you actually get locked into this loan that you can't figure out how to get done. And that just becomes a very, very challenging and tricky situation to be in. I think that's, one of the biggest things to make you're sure of, is that you have a good number going into these projects. So any other last minute questions for Mariah or Dev or myself? We're done a little early since we're not going into the first floor. Mariah, any other closing tidbits or tips you would give if someone was thinking about doing a 203K? What would be the first thing you tell them to do?
Yeah, I would say definitely have your team. All of my original team came from referrals and not because they actually used them. So definitely have your team and vet them. I would recommend Quality Builders if anybody needs a contractor. And no, they did not pay me to say that.
Is Mariah behind you, Deb? We can't see her.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's fine. Yeah.
That's a
so-
lot better.
Have your team. And I know they say have 6 months of reserve, but if you can have more, do that. Just to be safe. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I think that your team usually needs to consist of two, basically your HUD consultant, your lender, your real estate agent, and your contractor. Like those are the four people that you really need to make sure have done any of these renovation loans before. I know the lender as well will always make a big difference. So someone who's done these more than once, and who has like a draw servicing system set up on their end already is huge thing as well. So one other question, Mariah, from Rafi was, have you estimated your monthly cash flow after expenses yet?
I have not really, because I'll be staying in one unit, so it won't cash flow right away. So I originally thought I was gonna do a long-term rental, but I think I might do rent by the room, which will give me a little bit more. So by the time I move out, maybe the first or second year, I'll cash flow maybe about like 150. And that's with the current rents. So
Okay.
it should go up or higher than that.
And then do you remember roughly what the purchase price was?
Yeah, so I got the building for 195.
Okay, 195.
But the renovation cost is around, I think it was 250 was the budget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
250. One is the finish of construction, hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks,
Mhm.
I think. But yeah, we're very, very, very close to the finish line. So, all right. Well, yeah, Mariah, appreciate it. Happy Saturday, everyone. Glad you guys are up on a Saturday, making things happen. What is a major focus area in the units when looking to renovating them that will help them with the rent? So, I mean, easy answer, Nathan, is like the kitchens, the bathrooms, the paint, the flooring. Those are like the kind of like short-term things. And then in my opinion, the long-term things, which Mariah tackled, was mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. You know, if you spend a little bit more money and you have the ability to renovate those things, your long-term capital expenses, or not your capital expenses, but and your maintenance is going to go down because you've invested in new systems for the long term. And so, yeah, that's always something to consider if you can do everything behind the walls, because otherwise you have shorter term, higher maintenance costs. Yeah, congrats, Mariah. Congrats. Lots of
Yeah, thank you.
awesome. Congratulations. Congrats to everyone else for joining us on Saturday morning. You can find us at qualitybuilders.com. I'm going to put up our QR codes here. If you guys have any other questions, you can reach out to me, reach out to Dev. We're always happy to help, even if, like we always have said, if we're not the right fit, we're totally fine with that. We just want to make sure that, you don't get into situations when you're trying to complete the job and you can't get it done, because it's always a huge struggle. So yeah, please feel free to get a hold of us. If you have any questions, we can put you in touch with Mariah as well, who's went through the process and can share her experience. So hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday. Talk to you soon and see you next time.